Today's recipe is making a Yule log. The ingredients for the cake are 4 tablespoons of melted butter with some extra for the pan, 6 large eggs separated, a 1/4 teaspoon cream of tartar, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 3/4 cup granulated sugar, 3/4 cup flour, 1/4 cup unsweetened cocoa powder, and 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 1/4 cup strong brewed coffee that's at room temperature, and 1/4 cup powdered sugar. The first thing you're going to do is get your pan prepared. So I take I take wax paper and I spread butter across the pan. Then you put a sheet of parchment paper over the top of that and make sure you have overhang on all sides. And then you're going to butter the top of the parchment paper. Make sure you get into the corners and edges really well. The first thing you'll do is beat the egg whites, the cream of tartar, and the salt in a large bowl on medium-high speed until it's frothy. And then you're going to add 1/4 cup of the granulated sugar and beat that on high speed until stiff, glossy peaks form. That takes about 2 minutes. That was checking to make sure that it was stiff enough, and it was. I put that mixture into a separate bowl because I'm going to need the mixing bowl again. Sift together the flour, cocoa powder, and baking powder in a medium bowl. And now you're going to combine the egg yolks, the remaining 1/2 cup of sugar, and the vanilla. Beat that on high speed until it's thick and creamy, 3 to 4 minutes. You add the flour mixture to the yolk mixture and you beat on low speed until it's well combined. You're also going to beat in the melted butter and the coffee until it's thoroughly combined. And now you're going to fold in your beaten egg whites into the batter. And the process of folding in helps to preserve the fluffiness and the airiness of your batter. So it's just turning your spatula through the mixture rather than giving it a hard stir, because you want to keep the air. And you do it bit by bit until all of it has been incorporated into the chocolate batter. Transfer the batter to the prepared pan, gently nudging the batter so it fills the corners. And while you're spreading it, make sure you're doing it with a light touch. Again, you want to keep the airiness of your batter intact. Fill in all the edges and the corners well so that you end up with a nice rectangular shape after baking. After you've spread it around, then you're going to take the pan and shake it a little bit just to even it out a little bit more. It might look like I'm overworking the batter, but I was just skimming over the top. And now give it a shake. Put it in your preheated oven, which has been set to 350 degrees. You're going to bake it for 10 to 15 minutes. You barely want it to spring back when you touch it. You have to be careful not to overbake it, or else it will crack when you try to roll it up. While that's in the oven, put a clean dish towel on a large rack and dust with about 2 tablespoons of the powdered sugar. And here I'm just trying to spread it around a little bit more to the empty spots. Take your cake out of the oven, and while it's still hot, you're going to transfer it to your towel. And remove the parchment paper. Now you're going to sprinkle this with about another 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. And it looks a little curly here in the picture because I had forgotten to do this step before rolling it up. So I had to unroll it and do this again, and quickly while it was still hot. Now you take your towel and roll it right up inside with the cake. Then put it seam side down and let it sit for about an hour while it cools. Now it's time to get ready to do the filling. You have 4 ounces of cream cheese that's at room temperature, a ½ cup powdered sugar that's sifted, 1 cup of heavy cream, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So you beat the cream cheese in the large bowl on low speed until it's just smooth. Then add the powdered sugar and beat until smooth, about 1 minute. Gradually beat in the heavy cream, about a ¼ cup at a time, making sure that the mixture is smooth before adding more cream. Then increase the speed to medium-high and beat until stiff peaks form, 2 to 4 minutes. Add the vanilla and beat for a few more seconds to combine. Make sure that if it needs it, that you go through and wipe down the sides so that it all gets incorporated. I was using a ½ teaspoon measuring spoon, so I did this twice. Now with your cooled cake, you're going to gently unroll it. Spread the filling leaving about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch margin on all sides. Gently roll it back up. And with a piece of plastic wrap, just set it down next to your cake. Transfer the cake to the plastic wrap and wrap it up nice and snug. Set it on a pan and let it chill in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. For the frosting, you're going to need 12 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chopped, 3/4 cup heavy cream, and 1 tablespoon of light corn syrup. Put the chocolate in a medium bowl and set it aside. Bring the heavy cream and corn syrup to a simmer in a saucepan. Simmering here in this photo, and it's ready to go. Pour the hot cream over your chocolate chips and let that sit for about 5 minutes. After it's sat for 5 minutes and melted, whisk it up nice and smooth. As part of the chocolate that I used, I had a semi-sweet candy bar that had little chunks of nuts in it, and I put that in as well because because I didn't want the frosting that looks like bark to be too smooth. I want it to look a little more natural. So I thought the nuts would add some texture. The chocolate mixture thickens as it cools, so let it sit at room temperature until it's spreadable. This batch sat for 1 hour and it was just right, but depending on your own circumstances and the temperature in your home, it might take a little longer. And now to put the whole thing together. Unwrap the cake. You can put it on a cutting board, or I just kept it in the pan. So you figure out where halfway is, and then measure half again, and that's the part you're going to cut off. Now you can cut it at a 45-degree angle, or you can cut it straight and then cut the smaller piece again to give it a 45-degree angle. Personally, I thought this way worked out really well because it gave me a little chunk of cake to try. I have wax paper that I can pull out after I've frosted the cake. I had kept some pieces of chocolate aside because, again, I wanted to have imperfections in the log. So I put one round piece there so there'd be a little bit of a knot, and then a few smaller pieces scattered around. Then apply your frosting and spread it out. Then you're going to take a fork and you're going to make lines in the frosting to simulate the look of what bark might be. And if you can do it so that your lines aren't all straight, for instance, if there was a knot, then your lines would go around the knot. And if you're not happy with how it looks, you can always smooth it over and try again. It only takes a light touch with the fork. If you go too deep, you might end up taking some of your frosting off. Work the frosting all the way to the very ends on each end. If it builds up on the fork, just take it off with your fingers on the other hand. And now you can decorate it with your rosemary sprigs and pomegranate seeds. And I added 3 candles to mine.